are the jug handles located at Bluff Street and St. George Boulevard going to be done? What is the time frame? And how many businesses will be moving or closing as a result of this? And what is the financial process that is used to reimburse them?
Well, the jug handles at St. George Bluff Street. Bluff Street, I got to tell you first, St. George Boulevard, Bluff Street, Snow Canyon, or Sunset Boulevard are all state routes. So they're controlled by the state, but they've come back in with planning, and the costs come back after they've done the environmental looking at the road and how it should happen and the design, come back more expensive than what they thought. So they've actually put that one back. I don't think we'll see that one for probably 5 years. But obviously, they could bring it back, and yet the jug handles are still a part of that in the planning process. But it's just like the Southern Parkway here. Before, in the process that they're at, the jug handles and St. George Boulevard is the same, just like the Southern Parkway. They did 5 changes, 5 different places where they realigned and changed Southern Parkway when it was at the same stage that St. George Boulevard and Bluff Street interchange, or at least that connection is for the jug. That's not the jug handle. That's a different connection. The jug handle is actually at Sunset and Bluff Street.
Could you describe? I went and looked it up, you know, Wikipedia, because I didn't know what a jug handle was.
Well,
but would you tell the folks?
Well, what it is if you're coming down Bluff Street, the jug handle is where they take away all the lights. There's no stoplights or other things. It's a continuous flow. And what they would do in this case is if you're driving up Bluff Street and want to go out Sunset, you would actually turn off into where we would have to dig into the golf course. The golf course would be altered a little bit. It's been altered before. And they would make a round turn, go around and come back over and go out Sunset. If you're coming, the flow at Sunset right now is sometimes hits a D or an F because of the timing. We do have traffic jams, basically. We have rush hours. But the jug handle is at Sunset and Bluff. And the first, let me tell you the direction they are. If you go up to where Snow Canyon intersects Red Hills Parkway, that's in next year's budget. And that will be built, they're going to bid it in November. They'll start construction next year. And so that's first. That's the first project we'll see, and it'll take about a year to build. The next one will be the jug handles at Sunset and Bluff, and that's where you do make a loop and go out to Sunset, or you'll come down and go over under Bluff Street. I mean, over Sunset, excuse me. And you'll have to turn off just like an interchange to go another direction if you're coming south. If you come on down further, St. George and St. George Boulevard and Bluff Street is the next one, where they had a turn. You had to go clear down to Tabernacle and make a U-turn and come back up to go out to St. George Boulevard. That is under advisement right now with the consultants they have. They'll be looking at that. That could possibly change. The only businesses that are going to be affected right now, because it goes to 5th North, the widening of Bluff Street, they may take some money and widen Bluff Street to 5th North. Those businesses that are there where Blockbuster Video used to be, and Honolulu Grill and Baskin Robbins, that building will probably have to come down in any modification, whatever kind of change they do at that intersection. Now, I've probably gone long enough, and I've probably confused you quite a bit on that issue. But I'd be glad to show you. I have pictures on my iPad that can show you exactly how they look.
Good. Thank you very much. Now, John, you know, you alluded to this when you were talking about the plans and so on, but this is a little bit more detailed. Do you have any concerns regarding the growth pattern of the city of St. George has experienced due to its rapid increase in population? And do you think the city should have a master plan in place for future growth? Of course, you did mention that. And if so, what would you suggest as a starting point for expansion as we continue to grow?
Thank you, Pat. I think you know, a really good framework for this is a plan that really has already been set before us, really at the county level and adopted at the city level, and that's called Vision Dixie. Some of you may have been around for that. And we haven't had maybe the greatest chance to implement that yet because of the recession. There hasn't been as much growth, but it's back, and we're growing at approximately 4% State's growing at about 2%, which is about twice the national average, about 1%. And so, you know, that's rapid growth, even though it's not what it was once. I think, thank goodness, I think it's much more manageable where it is now. And so I think some of the principles, there are 10 principles. If you go and Google Vision Dixie, you'll find it. You'll find the 10 principles. But a few of those are plan regionally and implement locally, maintain air and water quality and conserve water, guard our signature scenic landscapes, provide rich, connected, natural recreation and open space, build balanced transportation systems, get centered by focusing growth on walkable, mixed-use centers, direct growth inward. That's pretty hard to do, and I wouldn't say that we're really doing that, and I'm not sure that I agree with that principle totally, because we have a lot of property out, for example, by our new airport. It is going to get developed, and that's not exactly in the center of town. But we do want to focus on how we can preserve and then sometimes redo, if you will, parts of the center part of town and do some of those mixed-use opportunities. We want to provide a broad range of housing types to meet all the different needs in the community, including all income levels, family types, and stages of life. We want to preserve key areas for industry to grow and to help the economy thrive. And then we want to focus public land conversions. We need to make sure that they sustain community goals and preserve critical lands. Those are the 10 principles in a nutshell and should guide what we're doing. We've already said that we would adopt that. So I think we need to focus on that more. And as we do have a general plan for land use, for how the city will grow. But I think we need to probably fine-tune that. We need to have it be readily available so you can look at it, so we all kind of know what's next. And I think we have to tweak it from time to time. Any plan is fluid, and so should our general plan, is what we call it, for land use. In fact, we have a lot of growth out in Little Valley right now. So much that it's causing problems with especially our roads. So I think we do need to, in fact, it's on our agenda for our work meeting tomorrow. And we'll be talking about that a little bit. What are we going to do in that Little Valley area? Because it's kind of gotten ahead of us. Even though we made the plan, it's clear we might need to revise a couple things and say, look, if we're going to have this many houses built, we might need to figure out a way to tie in, for example, there's a road called 3000 East that's got to get extended. And it will be eventually, but we may have to hurry that up or find a way to utilize it sooner, because right now we're causing significant negative impact to a road called Little Valley Road. And we've had animals killed, people hit, and it's because those roads weren't designed for and aren't fast enough, or shouldn't be fast enough to take that kind of traffic. So that's all part of it, and I think we've got to do more, not only for the 5 and 10 years, as I indicated before, but we have to be ready to adjust it. We have to be nimble and be able to say, okay, does this still make sense in 2013?
Thank you.
So thank you, Pat.
I was going to say, we have to be nimble now because we have to go on.